Testing, 1, 2, 3. I don't know what's going on with my videos, but ever since the damn update, I'm having a video every now and then that is just muted. Despite the fact I can see the mix out, I can see my volume bar moving with my voice. So now I'm going to have to vet every single video I do before I put it up, which is insanely irritating because I've never had to do that before, including this one. So we'll see afterwards if this video actually was recording this audio or if some bullshit happened. Meanwhile, welcome back to the Lantern Corps series. Today's Lantern Corps comes to us from Alejandro Gerald, who asked the question, what is the Lantern Corps of Hellboy? Or, not Ensabanor, Ana Unraman, I believe, is Hellboy's actual real name. So, Hellboy is technically the Beast of the Apocalypse. He is also Prince of, I can't remember the name of his actual father, but he is actually demonic royalty, too. And in the news movie, he's also like the last bloodline to use Excalibur. And using it would be making the Beast of the Apocalypse and cause hell to open up. He's a pretty unique character in that he kind of encompasses a lot of different emotional fields. Let's get a couple out of the way right now. He's not a Gold Lantern. He's not been happy his entire life because he's been feared and hated for a lot of his life. He's also not a White Lantern, despite the fact he's young. He lives for quite a long time. And he is a living being. While he is trying to save life, he's doing it by snuffing out other life. So that counters each other out. And as far as I know, he's never really died. Even if you were to remove his arm, I know he's had serious injuries, but he's never, as far as I know, been killed. But let's get a couple out of the way right now. One of the Lantern Corps that I think he would definitely qualify for is the obvious one, admittedly. It's the Green Lantern Corps of Will. This is just due to the fact that you need to have great willpower and overcome great fear. He's done both in those times, and he faces off against fearful monsters all the time, scary monsters all the time, and he completely, stands up to them. So Will is an obvious candidate right out the gate. Another candidate, though, that should be addressed in this is the Lantern Corps of Fear. People are afraid of Hellboy. And other, supernatural beings are afraid of Hellboy, too. Now, there are some that just aren't scared of him, sure. But the fact of the matter is that people are scared of him a lot. Now, not everyone's afraid of him, just like not every supernatural entity is afraid of him. But if you're going on the level of being afraid to not being afraid, fear could work for him. Now, he's not really a Red Lantern. He doesn't seem to harbor a great amount of rage. Despite his red coloring, he's actually he gets angry, but it's more just like he gets pissed off more than he gets driven by rage or anger. So that's not really a applicable one. He's also not, in my opinion, a Lantern of compassion. Not to say he doesn't have compassion, it's just not his dominant trait. That's all there is to it. To be a Lantern of compassion, you need to have it be your dominant trait, be the most compassionate individual in the world, or you need to basically be devoid of it. That's why the Indigo Lanterns are composed a lot of ex-serial killers and stuff like that. But then we're getting into some odd ones. One of the ones I think should be on the list here is Shame, Ultraviolet Lanterns. Now, this is probably not one he will qualify for. I will say that right now. It's probably not one of the top candidates. But it's one that would still be a possibility because he's ashamed of how he looks, how he walks around. He's ashamed of things about himself. He shaves his horns down so he can fit in. He's ashamed of himself in that regard. He is a Lantern of, he could in theory be a Lantern of Shame, but I think the other traits work a bit better. He's not an avarice Lantern. This guy's not greedy. He just wants to be among, live a life. He wants a life and he just can't have it. I will say that while I don't think he's a Star Sapphire, you can't throw that out of the realm of possibility, especially if you're looking at the movie versions of him, particularly the Guillermo del Toro versions. This is due to the fact that a lot of what he's doing is the fact that he loves Elizabeth, and it's one of his defining factors, one of his motives, and one of his defining traits. But it really is only the movie version. We're kind of looking at an all-encompassed version here. I'm using the movie version from the Guillermo del Toro movie as the cover but we are looking at more of an all-encompass version. I just don't know if that really works to its advantage, to his advantage. Last but not least, though, we have, and this might be a weird one, but hear me out here. We have the Lantern Corps of Hope, the Blue Lanterns. Now, that might sound weird, but when you really break down Hellboy's character, what is he if not a lantern of hope? A lantern of, a lantern of, a person who just hopes to have a normal life someday, hopes to be with the person they love someday, hopes to be able to help when they can, is usually the one who has hope placed on his shoulders to save the day. He is the beast of the apocalypse, but there's a catch-22 that in like the Guillermo third movie, he had to become the beast to save the day, not to bring end to the world. So, oddly enough, Hope works well with a Hellboy character. But that leaves us now with the ultimate question. Of the three, I think, that are the likely candidates, Hope, Fear, and Will, which one of these is the most likely one? That's a tough question. I think if we are to get rid of one of them, it would be Yellow. And the reason the Fear Lantern, I think, is the bronze medal winner here is because while the other two, I think, have stronger bases for argument, Fear only works circumstantially for Hellboy. And what I mean by that is not every person is afraid of him. Not every supernatural being is afraid of him. In fact, there are a lot who aren't. But, for those that are afraid of him, they are definitely afraid of him. So that's why if it were more like a Batman situation where like just about everyone on some level is afraid of Batman, not everyone on all levels are afraid of Hellboy. That's the kind of thing I'm working with there. Or, someone who just utilizes fear like Crane. He became a Yellow Lantern because, he loves fear, causing fear, and he can cause fear thanks to his gas. So that leaves us with the two big ones, Blue and Green, Hope and Will. And that becomes a little tricky. That becomes very difficult. I will say this. I actually think, believe it or not, he's closer to a Blue Lantern than a Green Lantern. And the reason for that is strong willpower is a must for being a Green Lantern. The actual requirement is to be able to overcome great fear. And while he probably did that as a kid, he basically isn't really afraid of much anymore, period. And while it can work, that isn't necessarily a requirement if you want to get on a technicality. So, for me, I think Hope actually works a little better in Hellboy's favor. Again, he's a guy who has a lot of hope in him, and he does inspire hope for the people that he needs to inspire it from. Because let's be honest, not every Hope Lantern or character that can qualify for Hope, like Superman in theory would qualify for Hope. The Flash actually qualified for a blue ring. He just outran the ring, so it wouldn't catch him. But not everyone places hope in that person. Just enough people do that he could qualify. So ultimately, it's not just solely that, it's also you need to have faith as well. So I think Hope is weirdly enough the wing for Hellboy. Believe me, that is not what I was thinking about when I was doing this Lantern Corps video. But yeah, I think Hope would be the proper Lantern Corps for Hellboy here. But what do you think? Do you think it would be Hellboy, or do you think it would be, do you think it would be Hope? Do you think it'd be any of the ones I mentioned? Or is it possible for any of the other ones to be the Lantern Corps that he'd belong in? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. I think you look good in a Blue Lantern costume, too. The red would very much accent the blue and vice versa. And I'd like to see a ring just attached to that giant-ass finger. It wouldn't. As far as I know, the rings can't change size. It would probably attach to his left hand. But still, that would be kind of funny. And then maybe him creating a giant, version of his right arm of Doom. So, yeah, I'd be down to seeing Blue Lantern Hellboy. But again, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.